So as this title suggests, guys, I finally decided that my M6 was no longer going to be a part of my Leica family. And I traded my M6 in for, yes, another film camera. And I did stay with Leica. And I traded it in for a Leica MP, this black paint. So you're going to sit here and go, Warren, what was the reason why you did it? Why get rid of the M6? You had so much fun with it. And I can honestly say that I've been wanting something with the black paint on it for a long time. Ever since I think 3 years into having my M6, which was 1989 M6 TTL, I believe. I really enjoyed that camera, but after having that camera for 5 years, it still looked exactly the same as it did when I got it, which I guess is a testament to Leica's build quality and the black chrome. I think is what it's called that's on there. And after years of watching other cameras as they patinaed and realizing brass, and then seeing what folks with the Nikon ZF has some folks went ahead and advanced the brass aging on their dials, and seeing what that character looks like and showing the history of the photographer and the use of that gear. I that was one of the draws to it. The other thing was wanting a more modern camera, a more camera recently built, because I was also having issues with my M6. There was something going on with the batteries where for the light meter, which I know you can use the camera without the light meter, which is why I stayed with the MP and did not go to the MA, was because I wanted to be able to still take advantage of a camera that could work without the light meter. But it was murdering the batteries. And then it was turning out there were some things that might have been wrong with it. I got that fixed. Then I had it calibrated, but I wanted more than just the black chrome. And I wanted to keep it to the M6, but since a paint M6 was out of the question, I was able to work with my local film or camera store, Camera Mall, and they gave me a great deal, making my trade to get this camera. And so I want to go ahead and share with you guys my initial experience with this camera, going out and hitting one of the small towns near me and shooting some Ektar, and then shooting some, I want to say the name right, Electra. And they're both 100 speed films. It was a bright day, and again, I just wanted to test this camera. I shot the camera with Voigtlander lenses. I generally use Voigtlander lenses, so for those who think you should shoot a Leica with a Leica lenses, hey, great, go for it. I think you should shoot your cameras with whatever you want to shoot them with, and I am not going to baby this the same way I didn't baby the M6, and it's going to be used. So I shot with a 35 Voigtlander Ultron. I shot with a 90 because I got to a point where my subjects, people who I wanted to shoot in the street, were a little too far away. I also shot with my Voigtlander 40 mil Ultron, or actually, I think it's not an Ultron. Yeah, I got to remember the naming for them, but it's the 1.4, so that's faster than F2, so it's not the Ultron. And then that's pretty much it. Now, I will say, guys, I usually try to at least put the lens I use for shooting this, but I was not successful in doing the film correctly to be able to do that for you guys. But what's the differences I noticed that I like about shooting with the MP versus shooting with the M6? Um, the first thing is I can definitely tell the difference in the newness of the camera. When it comes to the wine here, I thought that was fantastic. My M6 was a lot looser, but that has to do with age and use. I like a little bit more of the firm and stiffness of this, and I just love the way that sounds. It gave me the same feel as the M6, so I definitely like that, and I definitely like the fact that I didn't have the pivot. I didn't realize the pivot was a big issue or not with me, and it really isn't. But I do like just to have the regular straight arm, grab it and go. And then I also definitely like the look. Right, the black paint looks great on here. I don't mind that. I see fingerprints and things like that. I have other cameras I shoot with, and I see fingerprints on those. Um, and I definitely like the weight. Now, people mention because of the brass, this is a little heavier than the M6, and it is, but I didn't really notice that big of a difference for me. But I do like the weight that I feel from this, which is why I like the M6. The other things I liked is, of course, the dials, the colors, and what was used. The one thing I liked about my M6 that the previous owner did was they took off the red dot and put the black one on. I love that, made it more discreet. But again, folks know you got a Leica in your hand, so it doesn't matter to me whether it's dot there or not. The camera has a classic look about it, guys. So I never fall and felt, I should say, that having the red dot on there is a big issue or not. Leicas look a certain way, and people know what they are. So, but I do like how this doesn't have a lot of red all over it. It's very minimalist looking in its color. Of course, the only thing you're going to have, of course, on the top, and I'm going to do this so I don't see the light here, is you're going to have the Leica logo at the top, the MP, the serial number, and the dial. And I think that's fantastic as far as keeping it minimal and to the point. Don't have to worry about a Leica on the front top plate of the camera, and I thought that was great too. This is for the viewfinder. That experience was pretty similar. No differences there. Loading the film, no differences there. But I will say I will talk about that in a second. So as I went around, as you guys can see, I have the and this is by IDS. Yes, I have an IDS grip on here, which is what I had on my M6, and I love it. It feels great on this. It worked, of course, matched perfectly to this one, even though it's a difference in Jesus, 5 decades or something like that, right? And you're talking 89, 90 to 20, 4 decades, whatever it is, almost 5. We're 4.5. And then I did opt to put the Leica strap on here. I didn't think the price was crazy. So I got this particular strap right here that you see is on the strap ring. And I normally don't have something that's permanently fixed to my cameras. As you guys can see on the Q343, I have my Peak Design lugs, and I tend to like using the Peak Design lugs for all my cameras. But for this particular one, since I know I primarily shoot with wrist straps and not a camera strap, I opted to finally go with a permanent fixture on here, and I like it. I like the fact that I can put my hand through this thing and bam, I'm ready to go. So these are all my plus experiences as I'm walking around and using this camera for the first time and getting the images I took. Like I said, shooting the Ektar 100, and I'm sorry, Electra 100. I shot that along with Portra 160. So my bad. Portra 160 was the other film. And I'll let you guys know somewhere in there. I'll go back and put it in there and post the magic of video. from there, let's talk about the things that I have to get used to that threw me off. Like most people, when it comes to the shutter dial, it goes the opposite direction of the M6. So when the light meter pops up and it's pointing this way, you have to turn the dial that way to accommodate that. That's going to take a little to get used to. I, I totally forgot about that. And it did throw me off a few times trying to take some images, trying to figure out why I couldn't get the light meter zeroed into the middle. The other thing, which is really something honestly I knew about, and I knew it was going to be something I would have to get used to, is this guy, which is the pushing up the rewind for the film and rolling it with my hand that way versus the M6 with the slant and the arm that comes out much faster. So if I'm trying to load faster, the M6 is definitely the way to go. This definitely slows you down and winding the film and loading new film in. The other thing I have to get used to is, and that might be something that I get used to over time, is with the M6, when I loaded the film into the camera as to take off the base, and I was able to slide the film in to here, pull the tab per the instructions there, as you see, pull the tab in and close it back up and hit the rewind tab right here, back up in position and start hitting that shutter and it would catch 90% of the time. With this one, it catches 100% of the time. My problem is though, is it does not see it on the indicator as quickly as it did on the M6. I don't see the two red dots right here spinning as fast as I saw it on the M6, letting me know that the film has been engaged. So on the Electra roll, I got some serious light leaks because I opened this back up not realizing that it had caught the film and had already wound it up and it was ready to go. So I lost some frames because of that. And then I did it again, or almost did it again on the Portra. So I'll have to see if I'm doing something wrong or if it really is catching that fast. And if it's not registering, I got to watch that to see if maybe that's just a glitch on my end or if that's something I need to do when I put the film in and start doing it. Maybe turn this the opposite way to feel that tension. I know that some folks do that. I've not had to do that on the M6. I may have to do that on the MP until I get used to working with the camera. All in all, though, shooting experience, other than the fact that the shutter button has to be turned the opposite way, is exactly the same as my shooting experience on the M6. Utilizing my Voigtlander lenses was the same. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed the images coming across the screen as I kind of gave this initial review. So what's my conclusion? Am I happy with what I did? At the moment, yes. I will say I'm happy that I switched over. I'm happy to see what happens to the black paint as this starts to patina. And I'm actually happy with having something a little bit more modern and new to kind of ease my concerns that I was starting to have with the M6 and then the worries of having to send it back in and start to have things fixed. Now, of course, I know that can happen with this, but I'm not expecting any issues with operation to happen with this camera for a long time. So, and what I am expecting is to see again how it ages with use. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think about the images. Hit the comments with the time code on the image that you like the most. I'd love to see what you guys think of my outing and shooting Portra 160 for street photography and Electra 100 for street photography. Again, I floated between a 35 mil, a 40 mil, and a 90 mil Voigtlander lenses, and really enjoyed getting out there as the weather is starting to change here and get a little warmer and get some street photography in. See you guys on the next video.